Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is AES and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm typically not a fan of puzzle titles. It is not because I'm not good at them, even though there are instances where I resort to a quick search on YouTube. It is rather because most puzzle titles do not do anything to make the gameplay unique, as opposed to forcing the player to run from point A to point B, solve a puzzle by placing an object somewhere, and continue on their way. There have only been a few puzzle games that have piqued my interest, with The Pedestrian currently sitting at the number 2 spot on my list for the top 10 games of the year for 2021. Maquette will not be on the list. As a matter of fact, I had no idea about its existence until it became a free game as part of PlayStation's PS Plus service 4 months ago. With that being said, it can hang out with The Pedestrian from the perspective of being unique. It also contains a well-deserved story, and you guys already know how much I enjoy a good tale. What are my thoughts on Maquette? Time to find out. Without further ado, let us review Maquette, which was released in 2021 and for the purpose of transparency, was played on the PlayStation 5. Story. The narrative is the highlight of Maquette personally, even if the unique puzzle mechanics here can give the plot a run for its money. At its core, you must have come across this type of tale in other forms of media. A guy and a girl meet at a bar, they get into a relationship, get married, and then the romance slowly dies down. Once you reach a certain point, the follow-up events are quite predictable. Nevertheless, it is beautifully told, and none of the moments feel like filler. I'm certain that you will feel something from the story by the time the credits roll. Visuals and audio design. We will tackle the audio design first. Outside the music, which is very good might I add, the stars of the show are Seth Gable from Fringe and Bryce Dallas Howard from the recent Jurassic World movies, who voiced the only characters in the game, Michael and Kenzie. They perform their roles masterfully, and they undeniably add to the change of tone, depending on what happens in the various scenes. The narrative would not have been as impactful if it were not for those two talented actors. When it comes to the visuals, I am quite impressed by the design of numerous structures, inside and out. The graphics do not do anything special, but the details of the buildings and standalone objects are plentiful. There are a few instances of poor textures, but every other aspect of Maquette will divert your attention away from that minor problem. As a whole, Maquette's presentation is surprisingly decent, and I cannot pinpoint an issue that will overwhelmingly distract you during the playthrough. Gameplay. Since Maquette is a puzzle game, you can expect to be confronted with immovable objects to remove said obstacle. What makes Maquette unique in this category is the way in which it forces you to use the environment to solve various challenges. One of the first puzzles will bring you to a diorama of a mansion, but what you do not realize is that the mansion on which the diorama is based on is located right behind you. If you put a small ball in the diorama, a giant ball will appear right next to the real mansion. It is ingenious and something that I have not seen implemented in a game prior to my session with Maquette. I don't want to give anything else away because I want you to be surprised. What I will tell you is that there is a nice difficulty progression with the puzzles. I was stuck a couple times towards the end and I ended up using a guide, but once I realized the solution, I blamed myself more than the game itself. Fun factor. I cannot say that I had fun with the game per se. Maquette is a cool little gem, but it was more of an emotional roller coaster than a fun video game. Do not let these statements deter you from giving it a try. I would still recommend it. That being said, make sure to do some research before diving in and figuring out if Maquette is an experience with which you can gel and for which you are willing to pay, assuming you did not add it to your library when it was free on PS Plus. Impressions on PlayStation trophies. The list of tasks in Maquette is quite straightforward, although you may want to follow a guide for a type of trophies that will be discussed shortly. You will tackle one of three objectives. First, there are the story-related achievements that are unmissable. Secondly, there are hidden tasks that you may miss, but they can be obtainable during the first playthrough as long as you are thorough. Lastly, there are speedrun trophies, where you must complete each chapter within a certain amount of time. I attempted the latter category without a guide, but I was unsuccessful, leaving me with one choice: YouTube. No shame in it, right?
Boy, if you don't...
In general, the Platinum Trophy is very manageable in Maquette. When should you pick it up? If you own a PlayStation 5 and typically add the monthly free PlayStation Plus titles, there is a good chance that you already own Maquette. If you happen to miss out on it, I would recommend a purchase without a second thought. It is said with an asterisk because, in my opinion, you must be in the mood to mellow out and invest time in the puzzle title while being a part of a wonderful story. The main gameplay is not as complex as the Talos Principle or The Witness, but I would avoid Maquette if you are not intrigued in the slightest by the genre itself. In the end, Maquette is an intriguing puzzle title that serves as a platform for a relatable, albeit sad narrative. The visuals can be gorgeous at times, particularly with the lighting. The voice performances are exceptional. The use of close and far objects to manipulate the environment is brilliant. Had it not been for its free release as a PlayStation Plus title, I most likely would have skipped it because I was not interested in it. Now that I completed it, I would have easily paid the full price for a game that made me happy, sad, and hopeful by the end. It's not a game for everyone, but it was certainly made for me. I will give Maquette from 2021 an 8.2 out of 10. Well folks, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for checking it out. What are your thoughts on Maquette? Have you played it? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Till next time, have a great day or evening wherever you are. My name is AES, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.